Welcome to the Soulful Insights podcast. I'm your host, Tandi. As we stand on the threshold of a brand new year, I want to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to each of you. Whether you're a loyal listener or tuning in for the first time, I'm so grateful that you are here. Today, we're diving into a transformative conversation about stepping into your sovereignty, claiming full ownership of your life, your decisions, and your unique spiritual path. The energy of the new year is buzzing all around us. It's a time for reflection, renewal, and setting powerful intentions. And what better time to awaken your sovereign self than right now? Let's begin this year rooted in clarity, confidence, and a deep connection to who you truly are. So what does it mean to awaken your sovereign self? At its core, sovereignty is about taking radical responsibility for your life. It's about recognizing that you hold the power to shape your reality, not through control, but through conscious choice. To awaken your sovereign self is to honor your truth, embrace your inner wisdom, and trust yourself as the ultimate authority in your own life. It means standing tall in your decisions, even when they challenge the expectation of others. It's about saying, I choose my path and I trust my journey. I trust myself. The most important aspect of embracing your sovereignty is to fully understand that no human being has any authority or power over you. You may see hierarchical structures throughout society and religion created by man in some effort to control, create order, and consolidate power. Now, creating order isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when we create hierarchical structures, and it very easily can descend into control and consolidating power. Religion demands that you subjugate your power to a pastor, a minister, or religious authority. And for women, you must subjugate yourself even further to the authority of your husband. You, as a sovereign soul, do not need any intermediaries between you and God or source consciousness. It is not the light that seeks to have power over you. It is the darkness that seeks to cut you off from your sovereignty and power. So many women walk through life believing that they are free because the men in charge tell them that they are free. Don't worry. The man who has authority over you will be a, quote, servant leader, and therefore that makes his power over you benevolent. Be careful. The words are just semantics, to hide the wolf in sheep's clothing, to hide the truth from you. That ultimately, your personal autonomy, sovereignty, and power has been hijacked. There is no such thing as a, quote, servant leader. There is no such thing as benevolent patriarchy. But it placates those who are being subjugated, so they do not protest against the loss of their own power. Now, in the religion that I came from, women have no decision-making power within the church. They have literally no power whatsoever. If you, let's say, are the leader over the young girls 12 to 18 years old, and they go to girls' camp every year, that girls' camp plan and schedule has to go to the bishop for approval. The women are not allowed to plan for the young girls. So in reality, they don't have any decision-making power. And also, women don't have the power of God. And what happened in 2020, this was really exposed when you have to have a male that's at least 16 years old who is at least, quote, a priest, to bless the sacrament, which is like communion. There were many women in areas of the world where they were unable to go to church for a year. They were not allowed to bless the sacrament themselves. And so that was something they could not do. This is required for salvation. This is required for forgiveness of sins. And they said, don't worry about it. You don't need it. You can do it when we can go back to church. But the problem is single women within this church. And I actually know of a young girl. Her father is in prison. She has some cognitive disability. She lives on her own. But she's constantly has called my husband asking for blessings. Because a woman can only receive a blessing from a man. And they are considered more powerful than prayers. She lives alone. Her father's in prison. She is ill and has a lot of surgeries and doesn't know a lot of people. And to me, to cut a woman off from the power of God and say, you only have access to so much through your prayers, but you must have a man in order to have access to the higher blessings. It's problematic on so many levels. I have grandmothers that were single for 40 years. They have to go try to track down some man somewhere to come over and give them a blessing if they need it. This is what happens when they say, oh, it's benevolent and you have access to God, but they cut off some of your access. So let's move on. What does having individual sovereignty mean for marriage? Because there's these ideas of biblical marriage. And even in people who are not religious, oftentimes our society has, but not oftentimes, our society has been set up based on Christian ideals of marriage, whether you're religious or not. The belief that the woman is entirely responsible for cleaning up after the man, entirely responsible for doing his laundry, entirely responsible for cooking for him, entirely responsible for all the household duties, all the childcare, and raising the children and all of that. Regardless of whether you're religious or not, this is a lot of times what marriage defaults to. And in religion, this is called biblical marriage. But having individual sovereignty in marriage means, number one, that you are partners. There are no gender roles. And I find it interesting that we come up with this idea of gender roles in the first place. A man can't pick up after himself. A man can't do laundry. Somehow that's a woman's job. A man can't cook. He can't put away his toothbrush or rinse off his dish and put it in the dishwasher. These men are acting like babies and calling it gender roles. They're acting like children. Mommy, clean up after me. No, you are partners. Each of you contribute in ways that you both agree upon. Some men are amazing cooks. If a man loves to cook, he should cook. You contribute in ways that you both agree upon and that you're both happy with. You are partners in life. You are partners in the household chores. You are partners in the raising of your children. You are partners in everything. It also means, number two, that decisions are made with both partners involved. You do not make decisions unilaterally, and no one has power over the other. And neither partner has more decision-making power than the other. There is no hierarchy here. And number three, each partner's needs are always considered. So why does sovereignty matter? Because sovereignty is something that religions frown upon. And a lot of us have been trained not to step into our sovereignty, whether we're religious or not. So why is this so important? Especially as we step into the new year. When you're in touch with your sovereign self, you are no longer swayed by external pressures, old narratives, and fear-based thinking. Instead, you are empowered to move forward with clarity and intention in your life. You are empowered to take up space. You deserve to be in this world. You matter. And as you begin to expand and embody sovereignty, you will find that life flows freely. and you begin to manifest greater things in your life. A sovereign life is one where your actions align with your values and your soul's purpose. It's not about perfection. It's about authenticity. And as you awaken this part of yourself, you'll find that making decisions becomes easier. Setting boundaries becomes second nature. And your ability to manifest your deepest desires strengthens. If you are ready to step into your most aligned, joyful life, the gateway to experience that life is individual sovereignty. So often we play small. We cater to others' wants. We try to keep the peace at the expense of our own. Living authentically does not mean you disregard others. Living in alignment with your true self means that you always act out of love and heart-centered consciousness. However, you realize that you must always act in alignment with love. But you are ultimately not responsible for other people's emotions or happiness. That is their own. That is their own responsibility. You live your truth, even when it makes people uncomfortable, even when others disagree with you. It isn't about disregarding them or being unkind. It is simply recognizing that people act from their own disordered default programming and that you cannot be responsible for that. Sovereignty matters because when you recognize that you are the authority of your own life and you have your own divine connection to Source or God, you become unstoppable. Some relationships may fall away as you rise because those who want to control you, those who want you to serve them, will not approve of you stepping into your power. But it will align you with those who will love who you are and who will honor your sovereignty. How does this connect to spirituality? Individual sovereignty is a spiritual journey of self-discovery and alignment with the higher self. Sovereignty isn't just about external choices and actions. It's deeply tied to your spiritual journey. To understand who you are behind the physical, behind the name, behind your name. At its heart, awakening your sovereign self is a spiritual process. When I say self-discovery, I'm not talking about physical self-discovery. I'm talking about spiritual self-discovery. Underneath the stories that you've been told about yourself, underneath the physical body that you are embodying right now, underneath your name. Your name is just merely words that were given to you by your parents. Who are you underneath? That brings you into alignment with your higher self. That is true sovereignty. When the stories of the world fall away, when all of the shortcomings you think you have based on worldly standards, your body's too small, it's too big, your hair color isn't right, your eyes are too close together, whatever it is that you've been told or you've told yourself. Your sovereignty is behind that. Your truth, the truth of who you are, is behind all of that. Step into the truth. This journey invites you to step into a sacred space where you connect with your inner divinity. It's about quieting the noise of the external world. Turn it down. Turning inward to hear the wisdom of your soul. As you align with your higher self, you begin to see your life through a spiritual lens, understanding that every challenge, every joy, and every decision is part of your soul's evolution. When you embrace sovereignty as a spiritual practice, you are not just reclaiming your personal power. You're stepping into your divine power. This means trusting that you are guided supported, and deeply connected to something greater than yourself. It's a journey of faith, love, and profound inner transformation. This beautiful journey to self-discovery and alignment with your inner divinity can only happen within the embodiment of individual sovereignty. You must first, number one, believe that you are at your very core inherently good. You must recognize that you are a divine soul having a human experience, and that divine part of you is powerful and only acts out of love and for the highest good of all involved. As you begin to recognize this, you are then able to begin to connect with that divine part of you. And as you do so, you will find that you begin to rise to a higher level of consciousness, to heart-based consciousness, where your actions are motivated by love. When you are in alignment with your divinity, something magical happens. You open yourself up to the full expression of your soul and your true purpose for being here on this planet at this time. If you feel like you are in a dead-end job, or you're just living day to day in a mindless loop, unable to see any purpose to your life, I've been there. I have been there. Unable to feel joy or passion for your life. It may be that you are living from default programming rather than embracing your soul's sovereignty and truth. That is where the disconnect happens. That's where life becomes mindless. It becomes painful. It becomes hard. We are living out of default programming. It's time to go inward and learn the truth of who you are, embracing your soul sovereignty. At the end of the podcast, I'm going to go over several steps to help you begin to awaken your sovereignty and connect with your higher self. So stick with me. It's not all going to be airy-fairy. I am going to give you actionable steps for this new year to embrace this for yourself. So why is the new year the perfect time for this, for transformation? The symbolism of a new year is fresh starts, shedding the old and setting new intentions. Now, I don't love the idea of goals, and I don't love the idea of New Year's resolutions. My issue with New Year's resolutions is the energy behind them. New Year's resolutions, what is our attitude? By the first week, we've thrown them out the window. The energy behind that is not about transformation. It's a joke. And if you really want to make lasting change, something that has that collective energy behind it is not going to be transformation. It's not going to lead to that. Setting goals is the same thing. It's tired, it's old, we never reach them. It doesn't move us. It's like this far off thing. In 6 months, I'll be something. Well, I can procrastinate until 6 months went by. I like actionable steps every single day to get me where I want to go. You just do a little bit better every single day. That's how you get to where you want to go. Just having something 6 months out, in 5 years, I'm going to be a millionaire. Well, I don't even know how to get there. And it's fine if we understand the power of manifesting, but most of us don't. Small, actionable steps every day. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I want to acknowledge also that the new year on the Gregorian calendar is out of alignment with fresh starts and new beginnings, because it is still in the darkness of winter. And what is the energy of the darkness of winter? It's not new beginnings. Nothing is beginning. Nothing is new. We are at the height of the feminine energy of stillness and introspection. Everything is still the seeds within the earth. All of the energy of the trees and the plants is still in the root. There are no new beginnings yet. And so it is out of alignment with that energy, which can also make it more difficult because we really are more in an energy of stillness right now. Slower pace. This is like the planning stages. But we live according to the Gregorian calendar. Everybody sees the new year as this, so this is what we're talking about today. In our society, this is the traditional time of, quote, the New Year's resolutions and embracing new starts. So with that tradition in mind, this is what we're talking about today. The new year is a potent symbol of transformation. And you can embrace that and use it as a catalyst. It's like a blank canvas inviting you to paint a fresh picture of your life. The energy of a new beginning is incredibly powerful. It's a chance to shed old habits, beliefs, and patterns that no longer serve you and step boldly into a new chapter. The symbolism of the new year lies in its promise of renewal. It's a collective reset, where we collectively let go of the past and focus on what we want to create in the new year that lay ahead. This is the perfect time to set intentions, not just for external goals, but who you want to become. So I want to say, my husband and I did a New Year's ritual. And you can do this on the 1st or the 31st, it doesn't matter. We sat down, dropped in a little bit, and wrote down all the things from 2024 that we wanted to let go of. And I had a lot. I had a lot of things. We wrote them all down and just intuitively writing all of these things. And we took them outside. We live on 40 acres. So it's not that hard to find a spot to have a fire. And we did it at the warmest part of the day because we do live in a cold climate. Around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we built a fire and we had a burning ceremony where we let go of all the things that no longer served us. And that we were ready to step into a new chapter in our lives. And as those papers turned to ash and we put out the fire and we turned our backs and we walked back into the house and we sat down and we wrote our new inspired intentions for 2025. And I really love this ritual. I think it can be really powerful. If it resonates with you, you can add that to your new year as a little ritual of letting go. And it is really powerful to give those messages to your mind. Those powerful messages. I am burning these things. I'm not going back to these things. Another thing, I'm just offhanded giving you these tips, but I think they're really important. One of the things that I do, and you need ways because we are in automatic patterns, right? We have thought processes that are negative and it's kind of this default that our brain goes on. And when something comes to my mind, a way of thinking that I've decided to let go of, I take that thought and I stop right there. The thought comes up and I'm just going to make up a thought to give you an example. But let's say you come up with the thought of, I'm not good enough for this or to be successful or whatever. Okay. That thought comes into your mind. And this was something that you were going to let go of, is not believing in yourself. Okay. What I do is I take that thought, I stop, and I say, I give it gratitude, because all your brain is trying to do is help you, even with negative thoughts, even though they're not helpful. You stop and you say, I am thankful that you are trying to show me a better way in the only way that you know how. But I'm going to take this thought and I'm going to send it into my heart chakra to be transmuted by unconditional love. And you imagine that thought going down into your heart chakra, and you imagine that green light just glowing and transmuting that negativity into love and positivity. And I do this, and you will notice that as you do this practice, it's super simple. You can do it anywhere. It only takes a few seconds. It will radically change the way that you think, because you are stopping these thoughts and you're saying, hey, thank you for trying to help me, but I'm going to send this thought to my heart chakra to be transmuted. And you just keep doing that, because I know we are in default patterns and these little rituals are not the end. So that's another little activity that you can do to help yourself continue to stay on the path that you want to be on. I don't, like I said, believe in New Year's resolutions or goal setting. They're meaningless, in my opinion, and they're usually tossed out within a week or so. There's no power in them. But I do believe in writing intentional, inspired actions that we can embrace along the way to become who we know we were meant to become. And another thing that I do, I'm just throwing out all of my own practices to you. In the evenings, you can pray if that's something that resonates with you. You can ask your spirit guides, your angels, whoever you work with, your higher self, what inspired action, if all you feel like you can do is one, that's fine. If you want to do more, that's also fine. But before you go to sleep, as your brain is kind of shutting down and you're going into the subconscious, I want you to ask the question, what one inspired action can I do tomorrow to move me towards my goal of, and give a specific goal, making X amount of money by March 30th or whatever it is, or losing X amount of weight or whatever it is that you want to do. And then in the morning when you wake up, pull out your inspired action journal and ask again, what's my inspired action today? And write it down. Sometimes if you're not used to kind of intuitively tuning in, it might be a little difficult, but as you get used to it, it will come with ease. Write it down, do that thing, and do it again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And if you start feeling like, hey, I could do a couple things, I could do 3 things, you slowly build. This is how we get to where we want to go. Every single day, I know what I'm supposed to do today. The airy-fairy goals out in the future, the New Year's resolutions, I'm going to lose 15 pounds or I'm going to make X amount of money. These are, and I'm not saying anybody needs to lose weight, okay? It's a very common New Year's resolution, losing weight, making money, all the things, right? How do you get there? What are you going to do? You go to the gym on New Year's Day or the next day? But my inspired actions every single day. You can create a plan for yourself of every single day as well. Okay, sit down. Write your calendar out. That's also fine. Somehow you get that inspired action. Inspired action is in alignment with your soul, with your higher self. Makes it so much more powerful. It is discovered by tuning in through meditation or sitting in stillness and asking. Ask your higher self, your spirit guides, God, whoever you work with, what inspired action can you take? That is a powerful practice for taking even one inspired action per day to help you become who you want to become. It doesn't even have to be an action of like, I want to lose weight or I want to make money. It can even be an inspired action of letting go of something, of changing other aspects of yourself, negative self-talk even, because your higher self can help you and how to get out of that default programming. Transformation during this time feels natural because you're aligning with your higher self. You are aligning with your soul purpose. So embrace this opportunity. Reflect on your growth. Release what's holding you back. And declare your intentions with clarity and conviction. So with that, let's move into the steps to awaken your sovereign self. Because remember, I said, you have to be sovereign before you can truly embrace who you are meant to be. You cannot be under the control of anybody else, not even religion. Religion tells you that you are inherently sinful, you are inherently bad, you can do nothing good of yourself. It cuts you off from your divinity to put you under subjugation to religious leaders, to put you in subjugation to other people. So before you can even begin to align with who you were meant to be, you have to be sovereign. So, number 1, release what no longer serves you. This can be an activity that you do in the evening. Take 15 minutes, kind of drop in a little bit of meditation before you go to bed, whatever time works for you. Take an inventory of your outdated beliefs, relationships, or habits that are holding you back. This is a very important step and requires deep connection with your higher self for the guidance necessary to see beyond what your physical mind can perceive. Because a lot of times we are in toxic relationships. We grew up in a narcissistic or abusive family, or even just a dysfunctional one, and we don't see it. We think it's normal. You really need that extra guidance to be able to see where you really are. A simple and powerful exercise is to begin with a 5-minute grounding meditation. I usually do grounding, connecting, and protecting myself through radiating love into my aura. But before you do your grounding meditation, I want you to set your intention to release anything that's no longer serving you. So that's the intention for this practice. After you're grounded and connected to the heavenly realms, however you do that, you're feeling calm, you're in the flow state. That's what I call it. Drop into that flow state. Open your eyes and begin to write down everything that comes to your mind. Don't think about it, just write it down. Don't censor or whatever. Everything that you need to release and let go of. You could do a burning ceremony where you burn this list, or you could discard it, however you want to do that. This act helps create space for new aligned energy to flow into your life. After the burning ceremony or discarding it, or however you want to do that, it's time to reconnect and then replace all that you let go of with the inspired actions to embody who you want to become and the life you truly desire. Now, this is kind of what I talked about with our New Year ceremony that we did. But you could do this at any time. Any time of the year, at any time when you feel like you need to let go of some things, you can always do this. Number 2, reconnect with your inner truth. And when I say that, I mean your inner truth in alignment with your divinity. Spend time in meditation or journaling to uncover your core values and desires. Ask yourself questions like, what truly matters to me? What lights up my soul? What brings you the most joy or fulfillment, even if no one else notices? When do you feel most aligned and connected with yourself? What are the top 3 things you would do if money, time, or fear were not obstacles? What activities ignite a sense of passion or purpose within you? What values do you hold so deeply that you would stand up for them no matter the circumstances? What is one thing that you could talk about or do for hours without getting tired or bored? What do you most want to contribute to the world? When have you felt truly at peace? And what were you doing or thinking in that moment? Who inspires you? And what is it about them that resonates deeply with your own aspirations or beliefs? And lastly, if you could leave a legacy or message behind, what would it be? These questions are designed to help get the juices flowing and help you really reflect on the direction your soul needs to take to be in alignment. Additionally, practice quieting the external noise to deeply hear your inner voice. This might mean stepping away from social media or spending time in nature. Turn down the music. A lot of us drive in the car with loud music on. You can't hear spirit amidst the noise. You may have young children, that's okay. But when you're in the car, turn the music off. Turn on some meditation music. Quiet it. Tune in a bit. Anytime that you can, quiet the external noise, and you will notice that internal voice will start guiding you. And it's so powerful. All of us need more of that. Number 3, set bold intentions for the new year. Notice I didn't say goals, resolutions, intentions. Move beyond the generic resolutions, like lose weight or, get a new job or something like that. Set soul-aligned intentions rooted in your authentic self. Bold, audacious desires that resonate with your highest aspirations. These have transformative power. Remember, the difference between resolutions and intentions lies in their depth. Intentions come from the heart and soul, not just the mind. Intentions are aligned with your soul purpose. When you are dropping into your inner world, you become aligned with that purpose. It's inspired by your higher self. The power of connecting to your divine self and making decisions rooted in your highest good is the most powerful action you can take to transform your life. The next one, embody your sovereign energy daily. This is a powerful one. Create daily rituals or routines that empower you. This might include morning affirmations, grounding practices, yoga, rituals, or ceremonies, a meditation practice. Start each day by affirming your sovereignty and stepping into your power by saying yes to what aligns with you and confidently saying no to what does not. This is very important. You're dropping in the morning in whatever way you need to. Like I said, if you love affirmations, do that. In the mornings, I like to do grounding practices. I have not been very good at it recently. The holidays kind of get us all a little bit in a funk, a little bit off of our game. Yoga, whatever it is, meditation practices, affirming that sovereignty, being in alignment. And you need to be able to confidently say no to what is not in alignment for you. It's time to take your power back and learn to say no. This can be a hard thing for many people to learn. But when your no is in alignment with your highest good, it is the best answer for all involved. And I want to say this again because I want you to hear me. When your no to someone or something is in alignment with your highest good, it is the best answer for all involved. This is a way you take your power back. You do not need to make excuses for why you are saying no. If someone asks you to go somewhere and it just isn't going to work for you, I'm sorry, I will not be able to come. That's all you need to say. You don't need to offer excuses. You can say no to anyone in your life. You can be very kind about it. But at the end of the day, you need to be in alignment with your sovereign energy. And don't let people step over you. That is when we kind of become into victimhood. When we allow others to act upon us and we don't stand in our own power. This is not okay with me. It doesn't even have to be a no. Don't talk to me like that. Don't apologize for saying that. I don't care who it is, how you're related to this person or not. Don't talk to me like that. Don't treat me like that. Make sure that you are standing up for yourself. And the last one is mindset shifts. Implement intentional time for cultivating self-confidence, self-compassion, and trusting in your decisions. You've got to learn to trust yourself, especially if you're coming from a high-demand religion or a religion that tells you not to. Religion tells you cannot trust yourself. You cannot trust your heart. This is not true. You may not be able to trust the impulsive part of you. The part of you that impulsively decides that you need something in a moment when you really don't. I'm not talking about that. Trusting that inner voice, trusting that higher part of you. You've got to learn to trust yourself. When you notice negative self-talk, intentionally shift your focus away from the negative. And like I said, when you notice it, stop. Take a moment, hold that thought, give it gratitude. I know that you think you're helping me, but I'm going to send this to my heart chakra to be transmuted with unconditional love every time. And then I want you to create a thought to replace that. Now, a lot of people will say create a positive thought. Well, if you're thinking that you're not smart enough, okay, as an example, creating a positive thought in its place of I am smart enough, if that doesn't resonate with you, if you are in a place where you're unable to believe that, that's not going to work. So you're going to have to think of something else. You're going to have to find a thought to replace it that is something you can still believe. Even if, so for example, someone has negative self-talk about their body. They think that they are overweight, for example. Replacing that negative thought of yourself, that your weight is too high, replacing that with I'm skinny, you may not be able to get there, and that's okay. Replacing it with having healthy habits, working towards embodying who you want to be. Replace it with something that you can accept. Okay? Whatever that is. And I can't really tell you because it's individual. It takes a lot of intentional work to shift that automatic programming of your inner critic, but it's very, very well worth it. It will change your life. As you shift into positive self-talk, you'll find greater success in your life, as well as inner peace. Maybe you might even choose to just embrace who you are, instead of telling yourself that your weight's too high. Maybe you start to embrace your curvy self, and maybe that's where you go. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you feel about you. Maybe if you don't think you're smart enough, what is smart enough? What does that mean? It's different to everybody. There is no, measurement. So maybe you can say, I'm smart enough right where I am. You know? Finding that space of being able to accept yourself. Use any spiritual or healing practice that resonates with you for releasing past wounds or programming that keeps you stuck. I have used almost all of these, but you can use hypnotherapy, breath work, meditation journeying, rebirthing, and legal psychedelic journeying. I said legal, by the way, and safe. Make sure that you are with a reputable guide or something like that. I've used all of these, except I have not done rebirthing, but I've done all of the others. Very powerful. Meditation on its own can also be really powerful. But find the healing practices that resonate with you so that that will help you let go of the things you need to let go of. Sometimes we get stuck in loops with negative thinking, and and I have been here. There's nothing wrong with being in that place. Sometimes we get caught in a loop. What happens in a lot of trauma situations, and this is what happened to me, is your brain keeps trying to fix it. This caused pain, this caused hurt, so it keeps bringing it up. We got to fix it. So you keep having these memories and you keep having these thoughts, and it's painful. And your brain is like, hey, we need to fix this. Well, the problem is you can't make it that it didn't happen, right? And what needs to happen is we need to have the brain find a different solution than keep bringing this up to you. And this was something that I tried breath work, and it was phenomenal, but it did not stop my brain from bringing up these traumatic things over and over and over to me. I would feel good for a week, and then the ruminating thoughts would come back. And I did legal psychedelic journeying. I did many journeys, but the ruminating thoughts would come back. I would have powerful, amazing experiences, and then, I might get a certain amount of time of a break, and then it would come back. And finally, I used hypnotherapy. And you really have to have a practitioner that knows how to work with the subconscious mind. It doesn't always work. And this is why I have studied hypnotherapy. I actually finally learned hypnotherapy and did it for myself. And I would say it dropped the ruminating thoughts by about 85%. And the interesting thing is, though, is I was my first client for myself. So, still in training and all of that, but even in my kind of awkward, not fully knowing what I was doing, it dropped it by 80%, where all of these other things did not. None of the breath work, meditation, journeying, psychedelic journeying, any of that could get rid of it completely. And the last thing that I did was every time one would come up, I would send it to the heart chakra to be transmuted by love, and it would stop the ruminating thoughts. So, again, keep searching, because what you need is out there. But hopefully this has been helpful in finding sovereignty and stepping boldly into this new year. So let's end today's episode with a guided visualization to step into 2025 as the most sovereign version of yourself. Visualization is really powerful. I'm just going to put it in here. I used visualization when I was running a race a couple of years ago. And I've never won a race before. I was just planning on finishing and beating my usual time. It was a 5K race. And I only started about 2 weeks before the race, visualizing the time that I want. So I would visualize myself running down that last 100 yards to the finish line, crossing the finish line. I'd look up and I'd see that time. And I would do that every day at the beginning or end of a meditation. And day of the race comes, and I ran. And as I turned the corner for that last sprint to the finish line, I realized I was going to finish 3 minutes faster than what I had originally planned. So my original goal was to finish a couple minutes faster than I had during practices. I shaved 5 to 6 minutes off my time through visualization. So I want to implant that in your brain right now. Visualization is very, very powerful. It is life-changing, and it can change the course of your life and the success that you have. So our intention with this visualization is to step into 2025 as the most sovereign version of yourself. All right, so take a moment to get comfortable. If you don't have time to do this, if you're not in a quiet space, you can come back to this and do this later. But if you are ready, get comfortable, get in a comfortable position, close your eyes, and take a deep breath in. Feel your body relax as you exhale fully. Picture yourself standing at the edge of this new year with excitement for what the future holds. And as you're standing at the beginning of this new year, you notice in your right hand, you are holding a golden key. And this golden key that you see, this beautiful golden key, symbolizes your sovereignty. Now imagine stepping forward into 2025. You see a version of yourself who is fully aligned, confident, and radiant. This version of you makes decisions with clarity, speaks their truth with grace, and moves through life with an unshakable sense of purpose. Visualize the details of this higher version of you. What are you wearing? How do you carry yourself? What does your day-to-day life look like as this powerful version of you? See yourself engaging in activities that light you up, spending time with people who uplift and inspire you. Visualize yourself as successful, embodying all that you desire and all that is in alignment with your highest truth. Feel the energy of empowerment coursing through your body. Feel the joy and excitement it brings to feel the vibration of living in full alignment with your higher self. Notice how every decision you make comes from a place of authenticity and love. You trust yourself completely. See this version of yourself. As you watch this powerful, successful, loving, and aligned version of yourself in day-to-day life, notice what you see. Notice what you feel. Now I want you to take a step back, and you now see this higher version of yourself on a screen. Being successful, it's like you're watching a movie. Being successful, driving the car you want to drive, living in the house you want to live in, successful in whatever it is that you want to be successful in. Dressed the way that you envision your highest self to be. And all of a sudden, the screen starts to fold and come in to a ball. And you see this golden light that embodies all of the highest version of yourself. And you breathe in, and that ball comes towards you, and it enters into your heart. Take another deep breath in. Hold that breath, locking in this vision of the highest version of yourself. And as you exhale, know that this version of you is already within you, waiting to be fully expressed. I want you to say in your mind, it is done, it is done, it is done. You now embody the highest version of yourself. Take a deep breath. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and carry this energy with you into your day and into the rest of this year. Awakening your sovereign self is a journey. It's not a destination. It's a process of peeling back the layers, shedding what no longer serves you, and stepping boldly into your power. As we close this episode, I want to invite you to take one inspired action today. It can be as simple as writing down your intentions for the year, choosing to say no to something that doesn't align with your truth, standing up to someone who doesn't treat you the way you should be treated or doesn't talk to you the way that you deserve to be talked to, telling them, don't talk to me that way. Whatever it is, let it be a declaration of your sovereignty, of how you are going to move forward in your life. Thank you for joining me in this powerful conversation. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with someone who might need this message. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the incredible episodes we have coming in the new year. Until next time, may you move forward with grace, courage, and a heart full of intention. Happy New Year, and here's to awakening your sovereign self.